thanks everybody for joining us today. We had a little celebration there before with Elizabeth and Earl, which is great. I guess some other news on the CloseReach end of things. Cecile was just recently promoted as Vice President of our Customer Success Group. We're expanding that group quite significantly, and she's got a whole lot more on her plate now to build in terms of building our relationships with our various customers. So congratulations, Cecile.
Woohoo! Thank you, Kevin.
We also have we're also expanding our support and customer success team. We've got 2 new people coming on through the summer, and a few people may know one of these names from the past. Devlin Lemoyne is coming back to join us for a period of time. So we're going to continue to grow that the customer success team as well as our technical support group as we keep pushing into our cloud environments. 10.4.2. I'm not going to say anything on that today because we have Jacob with us, and he's going to give you the latest updates on the next release of QualiWare very shortly. And our SAP interface, that's one of the topics of conversation today here as well. So we'll have a variety of information available for people after this meeting, and more details to follow. We're in the process of deploying a new file transfer utility that is how we will be distributing future versions of QualiWare. Scott and team have stood up a new server in our cloud instance, and we will be sending out login information to primary, secondary, and technical users, contacts rather, in all the different departments that and agencies that we're working with, so that that's how we'll distribute software, as well as if there are large files, log files for issues that that we need to pull in. That's the facility that that we'll be using for that. So you'll be getting in the next week some online login credentials, and we hope also to use this facility to distribute some new products. So we're currently working with another QualiWare reseller, Qualisoft out of Norway, and they have 4 products that that they have developed, that they're in the process of putting together all of the documentation and finalizing their product strategy for these things. And so we will let people know as they become available over the next 3 to 4 months. Just in terms of a summary, one of them is an add-on to QIS to help manage Active Directory a little more easily, in terms of adding new users and being able to use the QualiWare Task Scheduler to do certain things. There is an add-on that they have to deal with the old style property sheets, now QRVs, for queries that may be a little intense. And so they have a facility to help with some of the display of that kind of content from large tables. They have an archive facility that includes offline archiving of information. And as I say, we'll be getting details on these 3 things. And the last is an enhanced iOS and Android native app with some targeted functionality. I don't have a lot of detail on that as yet, but we're expecting to have all 4 of these products available for resale in the next, as I say, in the next 4 months. We are also some updates. I mentioned last time that we were in the process of moving, or at least acquiring office space. Our lease downtown at the IPO offices at Laurier and Kent expires the end of August. And we have been successful at getting space at Green Bank and the 417. So we're going to be upstairs from Lee Valley. So if we need some extra tools to make things work, we can just drop downstairs and pick up what we need. Anyhow, it's we're expanding our space quite significantly. People who've been out to our other offices know our training room and the back office facility there. That was about 1,000 square feet. Our new space is 2,600 square feet. We've expanded the training room, and hopefully come fall and late, early next year, we'll be able to once again undertake classroom-based instructor-led training. But we're also rigging the facility for live streaming, and we will be continuing our virtual training as well. We have an update with respect to our Government of Canada EA Solution contract. So right now, all of that paperwork is with PSPC. And they have confirmed that they are in the process of going through the steps that they have all the information that they need, and they're going through the steps, within their operation to extend that contract. We're expecting 2 years, but if they provide us with more, that's okay too. Following that 2-year period, or over the next 2-year period, we'll be putting together a longer term procurement facility as well, so that everyone will be able to continue to acquire the software that they've all come to know and love. A couple of things coming up. We have some training actually coming up in May. Want to make people aware of. We've got the basic course. We have a couple of activity-based planning and costing courses running, and there's QualiWare Publishing and a QualiWare Advanced course as well. The other thing that we have coming in May is, and this is a first, it's a course being run by Louise Harris, for those familiar with Louise, and it's Designing Strategic Change for Value. And it's all about organizational change and how to determine a new and better way for working, designing that new way of working, and then operationalizing and fine-tuning it. So being able to change and transform effectively. This course is an asynchronous course, so it runs actually from May 27th till June 24th. So yeah, we're not expecting you to stay in class for a month every day. It is all about taking homework and coming back and either one-on-one with Louise or in group facilitated sessions going through the work that you've been able to do. And it's these are real world case studies and things that that you'll be working on. So Louise has presented this to the CMC, the Management Consulting Group, several times, to wide acclaim. And this is our first time running this course. So May 27th to June 24th, and it is on our website. So if you're interested, I encourage you to sign up. And our publisher course, May 11th, for everybody who's taken their basic and wants to learn more about web publishing, please avail yourself of that. One question that's come up from a couple of customers who have bought our Flex training packages is whether those packages can also be used for coaching. And yes, they can. So if you pre-buy a series of training days, if you're not going to use them for a particular course, and obviously the price for those, buying that package is less than buying an individual course or a series of individual courses, you can use those for coaching within your group or within your department. So, and I think that's it, Cecile.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. I am going to, okay, Ken, we will pass it over to you.
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit more mundane. Hard act to follow. Anyway, so
it's a bit of a tough act to follow, but thank you very much anyway.
That's okay. So thanks to Rick Richardson, he volunteered me to demo some of these because he was suitably impressed, I guess. So these are QCL functions, so they only work in QLM. They don't translate over to the website. So a bit old-fashioned, I guess, in that sense. So the one that started me being volunteered for this was the Explore Existing. So I'm going to go to another diagram type other than this freehand diagram. And this is just a blank application architecture diagram. So you can see down the right, there's the symbol palette. And one of the things we want to encourage is reuse. So there's a couple of things we've customized to help with that. I will show this the Shift E right now, which is a function that looks at the graphic syntax and replicates the symbol palette on the left that you see on the right. Only the difference is all of the items that are there are available to drag and drop over to the diagram, so that you ensure that you reuse existing artifacts. Okay, and that's especially important where they are corporately owned and are reference architecture type things. Okay. The other way to do this is to go Control L. I think you're all familiar with that, but we've changed it so that you can put in a wildcard search here. Let's just look for 1.0 in application capabilities. So then you get all of the application capabilities that have 1.0 as a substring in their name. So there's two ways to reuse things. So I'll just quickly show you the code for the Explore Existing. So this is QCL code, it's a very short function. But the interesting part here is this local graph syntax list. I did a lot of hunting and pecking to find this. Could not find, and maybe there is an existing built-in attribute that lists the symbols according to a diagram, but I couldn't find it, so this works. That said, if you're interested in these, I guess we can make the code available somehow. I'm not sure how Kevin would like to do that, but
yeah, this is part of what we're going to do with our app market on the CloseReach site, so that as we end with our file transfer utility. Through a combination of those two things, we'll be able to distribute this stuff. So if people are building special functions like this, and I mean, Ken, this is a great one, for example, because you're simplifying the repository here, right? To only show the elements in your repository Explorer.
There's no diagrams in this list, right? The interesting thing,
So,
and I didn't show you one of the things here, is that these lists are filtered by what you have down here. So if I do the same thing for this diagram, if I just go Shift D, you can see all of the freehand diagram or freehand symbols, but this ESDC icon over here if you do the same thing, there's only one that shows up, and that's because this icon at the bottom, ESDC, is designated as their meta model compliant symbols, and for whatever reason, we haven't got around to putting the individual symbols in the meta model. So that's, I don't know, that could be a feature or a hindrance, I'm not sure. So some
Your
of the other things
repository explorer all of a sudden becomes a lot simpler when you're trying to reuse objects, because there's you don't have to scroll up and down through the whole list of all of those objects.
Exactly. Okay, so that was that one. So there's a few others. When I'm working in QualiWare, sometimes I I like to just change the labels. Like this is the original label. So I'm toggling this now to be movable on these selected objects. So you can toggle the visibility as well with this function. So those are I find those kinds of things useful. And now we're talking about labels. I've a Shift L function here, which prompts you for text, and then the font size and style. I default to size 10 and bold, and then you can pick a color. Let's pick a weird color. And then it asks you if you want to just do the modifications with no rotation or rotate at 90 degrees. So I'll just choose rotate it, and there you go. So it rotates it. So that's a bit of a problem though, because there is a bug in this rectangle here, and that's a bug that's been submitted to QualiWare. It should really just be specific to this. And if you go here, it expands. You can see that expanded. Okay. So if I do the same function again, I just go through it like this. I can reset it to the original. So you can see these. This is my test area. Okay. So all of these are named with a naming convention, K test. And so now I don't like that naming convention anymore, but I can change all of these with another function I've got, rename objects. Okay, so we're going to go Control-Shift-N, and those are freehand instructions. I have to go find the template type instruction. Then it says you can search for a string in the name and then change the found items to using the from and to. So I'm going to search for A space test. I'm going to change A space test to AG test. Okay. So we can see it changed all the names of those. So this is useful if you have like a numbering system and you want to change the numbers from 1.0 to 2.0 or something like that. You could do it en masse. You might also have noticed that it changed the names of the connectors. That's another function called rename connectors, which you can run separately. And that's useful because if you take one of these and change it, if I change this to point up here, it now connects this number 3 to number 2, but it hasn't changed the name of the connector, right? So let's just see if this works. I pressed R and it ran that rename connector function, and it changed the name of this connector based on the from and the to targets. Okay, so those are some label functions. I also have some color changing functions. Yes. Mm-hmm.
The rename, does that rename automatically all of your connectors? It would update all of them, or only the one you selected?
All of them that are on this diagram. So only the ones
Okay.
on the current diagram. And it could be modified to just, you know, you could just do it on the selected one, but I didn't see a point in doing that just yet.
If I've moved things, or if I created something I don't like it and I've moved all things around, then moved my connectors, then one command and it renames all those things for me.
That's right.
Okay.
So I also have these, oops, connection has been lost, it says. So I'm doing this on prem. So let's just see, I do have a backup. This is now on the QualiRepo cloud at ESDC, so it's slightly different, but this is what I was going to demonstrate here, that you can search for things by hashtag. Then I'm going to search for example. So it brought up 2 examples, and then you can open it based on that. So that's a quick way of looking for things. If you have a bunch of diagrams that are that are related, you can relate them through hashtags. I mean, that's not the only way to relate diagrams, but it's a good, flexible way to do it. One of the other functions that I was going to demonstrate was this Control-Shift-F. This looks for a note with a picture in it, puts the picture here, and builds these. This is sort of like a blueprint. If you see an architectural blueprint, you'll have this kind of thing at the bottom. This functionality has been around for a while. Bob Boisvert, I think, was the first person to do that. It's been modified by David Gray and by me and by maybe others, but I think it's a good way to label your diagrams. So that's that. Other thing I wanted to show you was also, I'm going to find an organization diagram here. Example level 3. So here's an organization diagram. So I'm just going to reset this back to its original. And I think I do that with Shift P. Or no, yeah, I'm going to change that so all the labels are fine, and then I'm going to go Shift H. So this is what it would look like if you just created it. It's an organizational diagram. But I have put hashtags in here, like this is a director hashtag. This is manager hashtag, and I have a function that looks for those hashtags and changes the color. So I'll just invoke that. So I didn't have time to put a legend here telling you what the colors are, but I also have another function which is Shift P, which I showed you, which says, do you want to add additional information to the position labels? So it shows you the name of the person occupying that position and their tasks. There's a link to actually Azure DevOps that would work if it were on prem. This is not on the on-premise network anymore. So that's another thing. Let's see. Show height simulate. This is one of the ones I demonstrated. Hashtag color. Oh yeah. So you can see these are different colors here. You can just change those colors by going Control-Shift-C. Gives you this color dialog. You can change all of the selected colors to that color. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so it's very similar. So that's essentially it. I have a simulation function if you're interested. Let's see. I'll just quickly show you that. simulation function works on, well, cross your fingers, it works on workflow models, or workflow diagrams, as well as business processes and business process networks. So if I go Shift S, it says show progress on diagram. If you say no, it'll just create a report, but I'll say yes, just you can have numbers of iterations. This is just the header for the report title in the Word document. And here you can choose a banner for the pages. I'm going to choose the first one. And it's going to start with, so you can have an optimistic or realistic, pessimistic simulation mode. So it'll change the color of the symbols as it goes through once it starts, hopefully. See, it's going green. So I picked a very short one for you. And here, let's change the view to, so it wrote these things out here. It also says move folder to my downloads folder, the report that is. That looks like this.
So
Okay,
for
so
these,
go-
Ken, you're just using the standard economy tab on the objects
Yeah,
to,
I mean, there is for
for
activities. There's
costing and time.
Yeah, these are a few of the attributes of the objects, right? So that's essentially what I'm using. Like if you go into here, this is an activity. There's a simulation tab, even, right? So I just say cost per iteration. So this is just, you know, this isn't based on any real statistics. It's just an example of what you can do. So,
Right.
So that's that. I have other reporting things over here, but I'm not sure that people want to see those. I can say I'm not sure if they actually work. Because this is on the cloud. Let me just see. Okay, we're back here. Okay, so I can do things like copy matrix to an RTF file. I'll just pick one randomly. I'll just pick that KG test. I'm gonna pick landscape legal. And it writes that matrix to a table in a Word document. So it's just something you could maybe useful, maybe not. And I have similar things that copy matrices to Excel and others that produce reports. That's essentially what I wanted to show you.
Wow.
Thanks very much, Ken.
Okay.
I mean, in past years, and we've kind of gotten away from it, I guess, in the past year or so. We used to have a part of the user group meeting, where we'd cover some technical things like this or usability things. So
I remember Bob's
tips
and tricks fondly.
Yep. So Bob created a lot of things similar to this as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're actually, CloseReach is actually going to do is we're going to start to curate things that get submitted to us, macros or report formats or things like that. And our customer success group is going to curate and pull together little bits of documentation about what these things do. And we're going to start to package them up so that if people want to use these macros, little utilities, things like that, depending on the rule set within your particular department, set by the EA group, we will make these things available so that, from a productivity or a usability point of view, there's one place to go to get those things. And it'll be easy enough to do that off of the CloseReach website. So if I know that some people have talked about doing some of this through GC Collab and different things like that. But over the years, that hasn't happened. So we're willing to take time, have some of our resources pull this information together to make the tool easier to use and to provide some commonly used functionality, so you don't have to recreate the wheel.
Great. Thank you,
So thanks very much, Ken.
Okay.
I have a question.
I like the repository Explorer functionality, actually.
Yeah. Like I said, that's the one that impressed Rick enough to have him volunteer me to do this.
This is
Thank
Walter. I have a quick question about, this is a great tool for simulation. Now, in the previous presentation, we just saw the connectivity between SAP, which is a process runtime environment, and its connection to QualiWare. And would it be possible to take the real data from a process engine such as SAP and actually populate the simulation tab in the QualiWare object, so that we could say this process, whatever it is, this activity usually takes 3.5 days and costs $106. And so we could actually import that data from, let's say, SAP, and be able to do a simulation if we decide to reuse that object in some other process.
I believe so.
Yeah, yeah. There should be no reason why, I mean, you'd use QCL or a simple GTI to pull that information in, to into the particular objects. Or, Mike Haley's on the line here. He may want to pull that information into CBP, the Collaborative Business Planning function, which doesn't break down to as low a level as what we see here in the workflows, but it looks at utilization and resource costing and all of those things. So there's a couple of different ways actually that information could be used to simulate various environments and to gather costing information.
Okay, thank you.
For sure. Thanks, Walter.
Walter? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for attending the user group meeting. Really appreciate your participation and your questions and conversation. This was really good. If there are things that you would like to suggest for future user group meetings, you know how to get in touch with us. If you have any questions about some of the things that you've seen today that come to mind after we're finished, feel free to get in touch. The recorded part of this session will be made available up on our YouTube channel with the other user group meetings from previous. So you can always go up and access them there. And I think that that's everything for today, unless you have anything else, Kevin.
Our May meeting is going to feature Brenda talking about the report generation documents that she's put together. And also we have Chris Carter will be coming on to talk about transformation and change as well. So you can watch for the agenda for that on our website shortly. And Chris Carter is part of our advisory services group. For those that know him, he was involved with KPMG at the big D&D transformation initiative a few years back, and helped put together the first cut at the value models that were used there. And he was one of their global reps for architecture content.
And depending upon the results of some testing from next week, we may also have Kevin Wilson joining us to show us his compendium. We're going to test connectivity next week to see how that might work. So stay tuned.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for your time. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hey, Dave, good to see you.
Bye.